The Western liberal mind conceives of itself as being good because it's liberal. The Western liberal tells him or herself, I'm a good person because I'm liberal. I'm liberal because I'm a good person, which means that I believe in things like the brotherhood of man, conscience and compassion, looking after the wretched of the world, the poor and the wretched of the world, standing up against abuses of power. These are all good things, and that's why I'm a liberal. And I'm a liberal because of all these good things. So, one of the expressions of my goodness and my liberalism is that I support the Palestinian Arabs who I think are an oppressed people, and they are oppressed by the Israelis who have taken their land away from them and they are oppressing them. Now, every part of that, in my view, is a lie. But put that to one side. This is what the liberal progressive thinks. And the liberal progressive thinks that supporting the Palestinians is therefore something that makes the liberal progressive a good person. October 7 happened, and suddenly you have a situation in which the people that the liberal progressive has supported as being oppressed, and everything they do is a legitimate defense or resistance against oppression, suddenly we can see that those people have turned into the most bloodthirsty savages that could ever be imagined. Not just people who kill, but who slaughter in a sadistic, barbaric, debauched and depraved fashion that people can't imagine ever happening. They have slaughtered, raped, beheaded, tortured, burned alive babies, children, women, elderly men and others, and in which the people that they have supported as being oppressed are good people because they're victims, are these savages. And the people they have represented as oppressors are the victims. They can't have that. Because if they have that, if they admit that that is the case, then their entire worldview is shattered, because the people, you know, the cause they have supported as representing goodness is shown to be evil. And what does that make them? It makes them evil. So they can't have it. So what do? They go to extraordinary lengths to pretend that black is white, that justice is injustice, that oppression is resistance, and vice versa. So they have to represent the Israelis as being at fault. The Israelis are to blame for what's happened. So there is no better way of blaming people than accusing them of the very thing they are the victim of. Projection. So you accuse them of genocide. We hear it also regularly. The Israelis are accused of being Nazis. It's the same thing. It's not simply an offensive thing. It's a very deliberate thing, because if the Israelis are Nazis, then we are free. We, the liberal West, are free of any kind of guilt or any kind of association with bad things, because they are to blame. They are the people who are bad. And so we are free to continue with our fantasies of us being good people. And I think that's also what lay behind these amazing scenes that we saw on social media of people with their hands tearing down the posters of the hostages. Now you have to ask yourself, what's going through the mind of someone like that? These weren't posters advertising Israel. They weren't advertising the Israeli Defense Forces. They were pictures of babies, of children, of women who had been kidnapped by bloodthirsty monsters, by savage, depraved savages, and were being almost certainly subjected to untold horrors. And yet they were torn down, and the faces of the people tearing them down were contorted very often with rage and hate. And you have to ask yourself, what's going on in the mind of that person? And it seemed to me that they had to literally with their fingernails tear it out of sight. It was something that could not be tolerated to be in existence at all. The very concept of the Israeli babies and children as victims of the people they had been supporting, because it contradicted the narrative on which they had hung their own moral worth. And it seemed to me also they were tearing the Jews out, trying to tear the Jewish people completely out of their world, out of their sight, out of their world, out of their minds, out of their thoughts, and out of their consciences. That's to me what it represented. And this whole inversion of genocide thing is part of that. It is not just disgusting, it is not just ridiculous, it's evil. And I think it is a symptom of the evil paths into which the West has fallen through its embrace of a whole range of ideologies, a whole range of thinking, which I think has come to define what we call the liberal progressive West. Progressives marching side by side, shoulder to shoulder with Islamists. It's quite comical if it wasn't so awful, because the Islamists would basically, you know, kill them, some of them, for what they stand for. You know, women's rights, gay rights. I mean, these things are inimical to Islamic society, but they are bound together by a common aim, even though the society they want to have they are polar opposites, but they're bound together by the common aim of destroying the West and hatred of Jews and Israel. And this is enough to keep them on the streets together. But I think, as you were suggesting, there's actually a much deeper set of connections. And one of the most important is this inversion of reality. The Islamic world, as I understand it, is dominated, unfortunately, at the moment by people who believe that Islam is perfection and the rest of the world is basically the work of the devil. And so anything that happens in the Islamic world is good, and anything that happens in the other world, in the non-Islamic world, is bad. And so if Muslims commit terrible crimes, human bomb attacks, in this framework of thinking, they are always acting in self-defense. They're always acting in defense of the world of Islam, because they are doing the work of God. And the people they have murdered are basically bad people, and they're only killed because they were attacking Islam. It's a complete inversion. When you come to the Palestinian cause, that's exactly what it is. They accuse Israel of doing precisely what they're doing, but of which Israel is innocent. So the Palestinian Arabs want the ethnic cleansing of every Jew from a future state of Palestine, and they accuse the Jews of ethnic cleansing, the Jews of Israel. I mean, it was the Arab world which really ethnically cleansed 850,000 Jews from the entire Arab world, a world in which they had lived since antiquity, after Israel was created, and they were expelled because they were Jews. So that was ethnic cleansing. So the Palestinian cause accuses Israel falsely. Now, the Western liberal falls for that for two reasons. First of all, it believes in the Palestinian cause because it believes that gives itself, as a progressive world, moral worth. But also because the progressive liberal mindset has also been to invert reality. It was decades ago that the West told itself, that Western intellectuals told themselves that objective truth was no more. There was no such thing as objective truth. Anyone who believes there is such a thing as absolute or objective truth is quite clearly, in this way of thinking, a complete intellectual cretin. Only, sophisticated people know that everything is a matter of opinion. Feelings trump facts. And if there are no such thing as truth, there is no such thing as a lie. And consequently, you cannot have a distinction between truth and lies. It's only a matter of opinion. So if I say that the Israelis are the victims of ethnic cleansing and or the attempted ethnic cleansing and attempted genocide, that's only my opinion, according to this mindset. So if you get rid of truth, you get rid of rationality. And you open the way to what we have developed, which is the belief that, as Oprah Winfrey said to Meghan Markle, your truth you have your truth, I have my truth. Well, excuse me, I mean, what's she talking about? She's talking about opinions, and she's talking at the worst level about, you know, lies being someone else's truth. It's a mind-frying kind of hijack of language that we're living through, but going on, you know, what have we created in the West, in the progressive West, as a result of this business of, you know, it's my truth, everything's a matter of opinion, my feelings trump facts. It's all to do with the individual, you know, what the individual wants, what the individual says, what the individual feels is what is. And that has led to our victim culture, in which I feel oppressed by you, and because I feel oppressed by you, I am oppressed by you, even though I may have been absolutely dreadful to you and have caused you to lose your job and all your social circle and all your prospects, but nevertheless, I'm the victim of you. So it's that kind of inversion, that you can do no right because you are an oppressor group. You are white, you are male, you are Christian, you are Western, whatever it is, you're an oppressor group, therefore you can do no right. And I am black, I come from a developing world country, I am not conventionally gendered or sexualized, whatever it is. I define myself as a minority victim group. I can therefore do no wrong because I'm a victim. I must be the victim of you, even though I have told lies about you, I have damaged you. This is irrelevant. Because I feel that I'm a victim, I am a victim. So you have a Western progressive mindset, which, because it's abolished truth and reason, and because it's embraced hyper-individualism and victim culture, has inverted reality. So you have an absolute match between the liberal progressive mindset, which inverts reality for its purposes, and the Islamic mindset, which inverts reality for its purposes. So you have a marriage made in hell.